Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon was garbage. Or was it? I don't know. Let's talk about it using my space system. Story, pacing, artistry, characters, enjoyment. Each category gets a score between 0 and 2. Choose the best that you can get in any category. I'm comparing this movie to others like it in its genre. I'm not comparing this to a drama or a horror movie. I'm not comparing it to Scream 6. I'm not comparing it to Die Hard. I'm comparing it as a sci-fi fantasy movie, kind of like a Star Wars, right? So that said, let's get into it. The storyline, I'm going to give the storyline a 1 out of 2, so it's okay. Look, we know it's Seven Samurai, or if you don't know it's Seven Samurai, congratulations, I just told you it's Seven Samurai, which is Akira Kurosawa. Seven Samurai is one of the best films ever made, period. How do we know it's one of the best films ever made? Well, besides everyone saying that, it's been copied so many times. Magnificent Seven, which has then been remade. Battle Beyond the Stars, which is a great little sci-fi movie that I love. Rebel Moon is very closely linked to Battle Beyond the Stars, which again is a sci-fi version of Seven Samurai. There's even the farmers. The farmers are being attacked by these bandits. There's a guy that goes out to try to find a group of mercenaries, Ronin, whatever, bounty hunters, space action heroes in Battles Beyond the Stars, to come together to help fight off the bad guys. The bad guys are the bad guys. It's the Empire in this movie. People are comparing this to Star Wars. Well, Star Wars itself is a mix of cowboys and Indians meeting up with Akira Kurosawa's samurai flicks, Hidden Fortress being one of the main ones that it's used. Star Wars was a great mashup of like your Buck Rogers and your Hidden Fortress, mash them all up and you get Star Wars. That's kind of what this is. So this is perhaps Zack Snyder's version of trying to do a Star Wars picture. I'll tell you right off the bat, I haven't even finished the review yet, but it's better than anything Disney Star Wars did. So I'll tell you that much. A lot of people are against this movie. They hate it for one reason or another. Some of those criticisms could be valid. I don't know. I haven't read anyone else's review on this picture. It's a part 1 out of a 2-parter, which is like a bit irritating, but that's sort of the trend nowadays, and that's fine. Star Wars is a trilogy. It's only a trilogy, but anyway. So storyline 1, look, is basic. The farmers are being attacked by the Empire. It's not the Empire, it's the mother world or something, mother planet, mother world. And look, they're the bad guys. That's it. It's very clear cut. So that is a fantasy style thing. There's no good orcs, right? When you watch Lord of the Rings, there's no orcs that are good guys, right? The orcs are bad guys. So that's just how it is. So there's not a lot of depth in this story. The main character, and I don't remember much of their names. Korra was, I think, her name. There's Korra and I think Titan. I forgot their names. I'll get to the characters when I get to that section. So yeah, I'm going to give it 1 for the story. Look, it's okay. We've seen it all before. She's got to gather together a bunch of people. Her and one of the farmers, and they're going to fight off the Empire, the mother planet, whatever it is. So very basic. There's a traitor in the midst. Like it's very predictable. You can easily predict what's going to happen, but I'm still giving it a 1. A 1 means okay. The story was okay. If the story was fantastic, I'd give it a 2 points. If it was garbage, I'd say 0. So this is definitely a 1. It's not anything we haven't seen before, but it's executed in a competent way. Like everything, I could follow what's going on. Everything like makes sense. It wasn't like Ahsoka where I just lost. I'm like, what is happening? Or Obi-Wan or whatever that show was. It's like, you're just like, what's happening now? Like they just completely lose themselves in random occurrences. This is straightforward. It's simple, but straightforward. So I'm not going to beat it up because I think it was aiming to be straightforward. I don't think it was trying to be in depth, and it wasn't trying to be some wow, like this is incredible. Like it's very basic. So that's that. For the pacing, I'm going to give it a 1 for the pacing as well. Look, I wasn't bored or anything. However, this being a 2-parter, it's probably going to be a 4-hour picture, 4.5 hours. I don't think that it needs to be 4 hours. Again, I can reserve the right to change my rating once I see the second part. Usually when they do these 2-part movies where it's just one story, it's usually never warranted. It never needs to be more than the 1 part. It probably could have been 2 90-minute specials. I don't know. Not a heck of a lot happened. This was really just establishing a bunch of stuff, and I feel that you can establish it quicker in less time. So unfortunately, the pacing has to be a 1. Again, but I'm not saying I was bored or it was awful, and you're going to be sitting there like, oh, this sucks. it could have been better paced. That's all I'm saying. For the artistry, I'm giving it a 2. I mean, listen, this movie looks good to me. The character designs are pretty wicked. They got some cool guys out there. This was going to actually be a tabletop role-playing game, and there's one created, which I'll talk about at the end of the review. But I can see it. Zack Snyder created this little world, and I think it's pretty cool. A lot of intricate details in some of the character designs, just like background guys and troops and transports and weapons. He always has cool weapons and vehicles. Like, this could be a toy line. Like, I could very much see this as a Star Wars toy line. This could have been a Star Wars movie. Had this been adapted and retooled to be Star Wars, it would have been simple, but actually would have followed the Star Wars formula, which is take, Flash Gordon, Buck Rogers, kind of cowboys stuff, mix it up with a Kurosawa picture, right? Mix Hidden Fortress. Take Buck Rogers, put Hidden Fortress, mash those together, and boom, you got yourself Star Wars. The Mandalorian, the first 2 seasons are the more successful of the Disney entries. Again, Mandalorian. What is Mandalorian? Well, the Mandalorian is really a bounty hunter, cowboy kind of guy, teaming up or mashing up with Lone Wolf and Cub, which is a Japanese manga series, which is my favorite manga series. It's literally Lone Wolf and Cub, but in a cowboy kind of style, with obviously the sci-fi fantasy elements on top of that. There you go. The more successful Star Wars creations are taking this sci-fi fantasy element, some of the American style of filmmaking, mixing it up with the Japanese culture, Japanese either samurai pictures or whatever, meshing those two together. Those are always the most successful Star Wars things. Go down and look them all. Like, look at it. Anytime they deviate from that, it's not good. So yeah, this movie looks good to me. I like the slow motion. I know. Oh, the slow motion. Well, I like the slow motion. I don't know what to tell you. I thought it looks pretty cool. For the characters, I'm actually going to give the characters a 1.5. I actually liked all of the characters. The reason I can't give it a full score of 2 on this one though is that the villains it's just too generic. It's just like, oh, I'm an evil guy. Like, there wasn't enough personality. Like, when you look at, like, if you're taking sci-fi fantasy and you're taking the top, and let's say the top of that is like 77 Star Wars, the real Star Wars, right? And I would say Empire Strikes Back is a better film than Star Wars, but Star Wars started it all. So let's go with Star Wars as your top. Star Wars 77. The Empire, there's a lot of personality. I felt like Darth Vader is just kicking ass in that movie. Obviously, what's his face? Peter Cushing, Tarkin. He's friggin' awesome. He's a total bastard, and he's very cool about it too. It's like, well, maybe it's the accent, whatever. The villain in this it's like, he's just a mean guy, and you're like, I don't care. And I felt that it was a little bit generic, where it's like, oh, he's a button pusher. It's like, oh, they're gonna rape this girl. Oh, well, there you go. Oh no, they're just gonna kill that guy for no reason. And you're like, it's just a bit on the nose for the characters. But I actually liked everybody else. I liked the main girl, Cora. I thought she was pretty cool. So I don't know. I liked her. I liked the side characters. They went and picked up other guys to kind of team up into the 7 Samurai group or whatever. I liked them. I thought they were kind of neat. They look like they might be pretty neat figures, right? Action figures. So yeah, I like the characters. So there you go. Overall enjoyment, I'm going to give it a 1.5. I liked this movie. I don't know. I haven't read anyone else's reviews on this or watched any other videos. I'm seeing, was it Rotten Tomatoes scores? Oh no, that was Aquaman. There's some people who are not liking this movie. And I liked it. So let's see where it goes from part 2. It could shit the bed in part 2. I'm not, who knows. So where I'm at right now is I'm at a 7 out of 10. If you get a 5 or 6, that's sort of a pass in my system. Based on my space system, 5 or 6 is a pass. So 7's like, that was pretty good. I liked it. I'm going to watch part 2. If it comes out on 4K, I'm definitely going to buy it. I want to make a note about Zack Snyder. And just to let everybody know, I'm not one of these Zack Snyder zealots or one of these bot guys or whatever. I absolutely hate the I don't want to say DC stuff because I like Watchmen, but I hate the Superman stuff. So if you take the Justice League stuff, I can't stand the 4-hour Justice League. It's way too long and just awful. It's boring as hell, most of it. Superman's not hardly even in it till the end. A Batman versus Superman is a bloody nightmare, and Man of Steel is not Superman. It sucks. However, I absolutely love 300. I think it's friggin' awesome. I actually really like Sucker Punch as well. I think it's pretty cool. I think Watchmen has a couple of flaws, but really it's pretty damn impressive to have gotten Watchmen to the screen. I kind of love Watchmen. I can mentally think, yeah, there's a few things that, you know, they changed. Obviously the squid, which is kind of irritating that they changed it, but on the other hand, I kind of like the alternative too. So I do love Watchmen. I've got all the toys and all that. I actually own every Zack Snyder movie that's come out. Dawn of the Dead remake, which wasn't a bad remake. I even had the Owls animated film, though I did give that to my coworker, and then I since have not seen that coworker, so that movie's lost. No, don't lend any movies to anybody; they're gone. So I've lost that one, but I own everything else. If that zombie film, if that comes out, I'd probably pick that up. That was like, I didn't think that zombie film was that good. I gave it like maybe a 5 or 6. It was like okay. I am not a restore the Snyder cut or whatever that stupid thing is. I don't want it restored. It's awful. So I don't hate Zack Snyder. I think there's a lot of people that just are hating on Zack Snyder. I don't know why. Like, did he do something to you? For me, he kind of ruined Superman, but I don't hate him. Like, it's just I don't like those movies. I still bought them not for my I collect Superman stuff, so I still watch them. So yeah. Anyways, that is that. So I don't hate Zack Snyder, but I don't love him either. I'm just like, yeah, Zack Snyder's the best thing ever. I don't just go around shilling for Zack Snyder. That zombie movie was kind of meh, but I do like 300, I do like Sucker Punch, do like Watchmen, and I do like this. So I thought it was pretty good. Anyways, let me know your thoughts in the comments on Rebel Moon Part 1. All right, everybody. Until next time.